This is sort of like a Gen X slop kind of political perspective, which is that there's a sort of a relativity to truth.
You are not arguing in good faith because you.
I am absolutely. This is the definition of arguing in good faith.
It is not. It is not because you're. No. And then you've got an audience of what, 40,000 clapping and standing up. Come on, man. I mean, Hideo Kojima doesn't do myth making and myth building like Donald Trump does. This is some bullshit. Great evil has always been done under the guise of religion. Absolutely. Absolutely. Trump's a goddamn fucking moron and he's dangerous and we should all be ashamed. We have a very religious person on the phone waiting to join us. It is our good pal, Ember's Arcade. Tech, you want to bring him in?
Hello.
I brought him in.
All right. Hello. Ember's, what's going on, bud?
Oh, hey, how's it going? Everything's all right?
Yep, all good. Well, you know, the world's burning, but, you know, that's par for the course.
It's not. It's fine.
It's not fine, but continue. What's going on? Well,
no, I came in and, you know, caught your stream and I saw that you're very passionate about today's subject.
Yes.
And I'm not even really sure where to start.
Okay.
You've been saying a lot about how, you know, don't these people know that they're being played, they're being duped, and isn't it insane that they believe that God is
insane
doing anything, you know? And so okay, I don't know. So what do you think is the play? You say they're being played. What is the play?
Well, I'll give you two options. There is the overly dramatic, and I hope to God it's not true, but there are moments where I just don't know, which is Project 2025 from the Heritage Foundation, where they are trying to basically, and you've got people in this.
So let's go one at a time. So Project 2025.
Okay, you've got people, many of the people on his cabinet, including the head of the FCC, who was the one that pressured ABC to pull Jimmy Kimmel off the air the other day, are authors of Project 2025. If you listen to Pete Hegseth, who is the secretary or I don't know what his job, he runs the Pentagon. I don't know if he's the Secretary of War now or whatever. But he is retweeting his pastor who's saying that women should not have the right to vote.
Women are the kind of people that people come out of.
So you just think they're meant to have babies. That's it. They're just a vessel.
No, it doesn't take any talent to simply reproduce biologically. The wife and mother, who is the chief executive of the home, is entrusted with 3 or 4 or 5 eternal souls.
Wilson says in his vision of a Christian society, women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote.
That's also part of Project 2025. You have the FBI 2 weeks ago throwing up a trial balloon saying, should we classify trans people who make up like 0.2% of killers as some kind of classification so they can't have their Second Amendment rights? Okay, so on the hang on. Wait, I'm going to stop listing. I know I'm going to stop listing. So what I'm saying is, when you say what is the play, on the worst case scenario, all of these that I'm explaining are dominoes that are part of Project 2025, where they want to turn this into a white Christian nation. That is the play, in my opinion. Go.
Okay, so I think there's a huge logical leap with a lot of gaps in between what you were listing and then the conclusion that you've come to about a white Christian ethno-state. First of all, the idea of an ethno-state is inconsistent with any kind of Christian theology that's worth its salt.
Who gives a shit?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Wait a minute. No. We'll stop there. No. We have to stop there. Because you're laying out an argument that suggests that the only way these people would do what they do is if it actually fits nicely into Christian theology. Do you actually think Donald Trump is a Christian? Do you actually think any of these fucking people that are manipulating everyone else are true Christians? I think the audience is.
I think that you have a standard for what a true Christian is. And I think that your standard for a true Christian is someone who is very nice and quiet and doesn't say anything about how you live your life. You made a specific claim about repealing the 19th Amendment.
Yes.
What evidence do you have that that's in anyone's written document for a plan for the future of America?
Okay. So when you have the Secretary of Defense retweeting a clip where his pastor is saying the man is the head of the household and women should submit to their husbands. And in that, they should not be able to vote. The man should represent the whole household. And I can show you that if you don't believe me, or you can just Google Pete Hegseth retweets pastor 19th Amendment and you will see it.
So I want you to see where you made this leap. Maybe you're right that this pastor said a thing, and a lot of
I'm not. Maybe listen, I can show it to you.
Listen, but listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not a Protestant. Pastors say a lot of really insane stuff. Ted Cruz was being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, and he says that he supports the Israel that was formed in 1947 because it says so in Genesis, which is insane, right? That's bad theology. I subscribe to a tradition that is thousands of years old.
Okay, and that's wonderful. But you weren't speaking. You weren't speaking this weekend. I will listen, Embers. But you can't frame this as you're defending Christianity. I'm not attacking Christianity. I'm attacking. I'm not. I'm attacking the people on stage that are claiming to represent Christian values. When in essence, they represent. Well, I can tell you what I know for fucking sure. It's not what you just said. Ted Cruz said.
I would agree.
Okay, and there are some Christians who say that the man should be the head of the household and the wife should submit to the man.
That's consistent with scripture, and the scripture also says the opposite, that the man should submit to the wife. Right. Okay. So this is about form. Okay. I don't want to get into the details because you made a specific claim. You said that in Project 2025,
yes,
they are claiming that they want to remove women's rights. Now, you know which amendment. I said it before. It's the 19th Amendment, right? So can you find me where in the Heritage Foundation's documents they're saying that part of their political interest is to repeal the 19th Amendment?
Yeah, give me a minute. Bunny, talk to Embers.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just I had a long day today, but I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. I was telling Jaffe earlier. I thought you should call in for this one. I thought you'd be good to.
Oh, I appreciate
defend the Christians against.
Listen, I'm not against the Christians. I said, I think the Christians are out of their fucking mind, but they think I'm out of my fucking mind raising a trans son. And guess what? They have a right to think that. And I have a right to think what I think, that they're absolutely out of their fucking mind. But I don't want any harm to come to them, and they don't deserve to live in a country, just like I don't, that their religion is being used to manipulate and propagandize people to vote for the 1%. That's my issue.
Yeah, I was joking when I said that, though.
Do you agree with me that he is maybe a little bit against Christianity? I feel like he kind of is.
I'm against all religion.
Well, okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think he's got a,
But why is that? Okay, but wait a minute. Why is that any different than somebody saying to me that they're against trans ideology? And I'm like, I get that. I respect that. I think you're absolutely wrong, but you have a right to think that. That doesn't, as long as you don't try to make laws to stop people who don't agree with you, then we're good. We don't all have to agree.
This is so I don't want to attack your generation, but this is sort of like a Gen X slop kind of political
generation
perspective, which is that that there's a sort of a relativity to truth, right? And that there's a relativity to truth, that truth is just what's convenient for you. And it kind of changes if you're in that country or in this country, if you're living 1,000 years ago or 500 years ago. That truth is this sort of malleable thing, right? That is it's very kind of boomer slop, Gen X slop, kind of just do whatever you want.
Well, truth is relative, but continue.
That's so thank you for proving my point. Truth is not relative, actually. As a matter of fact, truth is highly singular. As a matter of fact, it may be the most singular thing in the entire universe.
But as it relates to the way people perceive truth, it's relative. Yes,
because a person can perceive something incorrectly, right?
That's right, and people can see something and totally see it correctly and remember it incorrectly. So the point that I'm getting at is that. And part of the reason why I think you and I will always clash for the rest of our lives is simply that you come at every philosophical issue from the perspective that truth is relative, and I come from it from the perspective that truth is objective. And truth is what?
Objective.
What truth is objective specifically?
Well, that truth is shared. All truth is objective.
Okay.
Let me give you an example.
Okay, yeah, give me an example.
Okay, so do you believe that it is true that murder is evil?
No.
So murder, which is the killing of an innocent person unjustly.
Well, again, that's
not killing for self-defense. I'm saying murder.
Right, but you've just added two words, innocent and unjustly.
But
right?
That's within the meaning of murder. That's within the meaning of murder. That's implicit in the meaning.
But okay, so at a meta level, I would say, like, maybe if there is a God, only God could perceive this, but we can't.
So I'm not talking about God at all.
Okay, then for man, I don't think anyone is fully innocent, and I don't think anyone can judge that, right? You know, the idea that murder is bad, murder is hurtful, murder is harmful, but my guess would be that to you and me, someone we might point at and call a murderer, that individual may be dealing with all kinds of other shit, or they may have a perception of reality. And while our society has said that this is the reality we have decided to accept and make laws about, which I think is necessary, if we're talking meta and philosophically, you can't say what is actually true philosophically because we don't have all the data.
So let's say that a man who has no idea, he walks into a house with a knife, right? He has no idea who the house belongs to. Yep. He's never had any interactions with the people who live in that house. And there's a 2-year-old infant in the house, and he kills the infant and he walks out of the house. He had no reason to do that, no connection to any of the people that live there. He just decided that he desired to
why not?
Murder.
Let's kill him. Kill the baby.
Yeah, just kill the infant. Would you say that action was evil? Or do you have some kind of a morally relativistic justification for why that would be okay?
I don't think it would be. I mean, the only way it would be okay, your scenario doesn't allow it to be okay because you're not saying
because it's not because it isn't okay. Because and you're allowed to say that it's evil. You are allowed to say that. I'm giving you permission.
But this is the problem that you and I have is you're choosing to take one word and link it to another. You and I can agree it's bad. It's sad. It should be punishable. That person should go away, if not forever, for a very long time. But when you now want to go, see, Jaffe, you believe it's evil. I don't know what evil is. Evil is like this social societal construct that
are we using evil as a synonym for bad? Like, how are we using evil by definition?
Evil is something that is inherently evil. Evil explains itself.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
It is that an action has an inherent moral quality.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So
I can't agree or disagree. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm agnostic
totally
on
fine.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally fine. Now, let's say same scenario, except for whatever reason, for reasons that cannot be explained, that same man and that same infant are instantly transported to the other side of the universe, like up against the fiery walls of creation at the beginning of time. Right. They are so far away from humanity that light would take billions of years to arrive back here. There's no chance of them getting back there. They are far from witness. They are far from court, from human-made morality, as you would define it. Yep. They're just completely gone. And then he kills the infant again.
For the same motivation.
Absolutely the same motivation. Absolutely.
Okay.
No, I have no idea what I just want to kill that infant.
Okay.
Is it still wrong or bad or hurtful all the way out there without witness?
100%.
So here's the thing is that even though you don't want to concede the idea that an action can have.
You are not arguing in good faith because you.
I am absolutely. This is the definition of arguing.
No, it is not. No, it is not because you're. No. Listen to me. You guys got to be careful with this silver-tongued devil right here because he knows what he's doing. Okay,
let him do it.
When he said what he just said was, and I've already forgotten it, but the way he framed it. Wow. The way just listen for a moment. I didn't interrupt him for no reason. Okay. The way he framed it was that I'm trying to get out of saying something. And I'm like, no, I'm being very honest with you. I'm not, I don't have a problem learning or saying I'm wrong or, oh my God, that's a really great point. But what you don't get to do if you want to have a real discussion with me is take these little jabs in the way you frame your words that are not based on any fact. I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was something like, you're saying that because you don't want to concede this point. I'm like, don't tell me why I'm saying it. Don't put that out in the ether and make it toxic and just talk about it and say, this is what you're saying. Don't ascribe to it your own assumptions as to why I'm doing it, because I'm not ashamed to lose an argument, dude.
Didn't you just stop him because you said, you don't know what he's about to do? I know what he's about to do, so I had to stop it. You're like assuming.
I don't want, he said it. He said it. The preamble was, you're doing it because you want to concede this point. That came out of his mouth.
I didn't get to make my conclusion, right? So,
I'm not saying anything because I'm afraid that I'll be wrong. So let's continue.
So the conclusion that I'm trying to get to, and I know that you're not going to agree, but you can recognize that the action that I described was wrong within the world that we have here with constructs like laws and man-made morality, with the way that you described it. And it is still wrong or bad or hurtful or any of those words that you used. It is still the same quality of action inherently on the other side of the universe where there is no presence than just those two things, right?
Well, but that's not what. No, you got
to let me finish.
But your argument is wrong about my assumptions. But continue.
Okay, all right.
You can laugh about that, but all that is that you're not arguing in good faith. Don't laugh about it like what I'm doing is I'm being unreasonable. Those Jaffe, are not the only two reasons I am assuming that action is wrong on the other end of the universe.
Okay, well, listen, let me just make my conclusion and then we'll see what you think. I think that the fact that you are willing to recognize that separated from the relativism of living in this world and our laws and our man-made morality, and I'm using those words because those are just some of the terms. But that's not the only reason. Listen, I know that's immaterial. I'm saying those words because those are some that you use. I'm just trying to relate it back to what you were saying, right? This is the definition of arguing in good faith, is that I'm trying to make sure that you know that I understand what you said. Now,
okay, but it's not the definition of good arguing then. Okay, continue.
All right. So because there's a link between those actions that you have, despite their distance, both being harmful or bad or whatever it is that you said, then I think that you believe to some extent, at least, that there is a sort of universal law which ascribes moral quality to actions. Now you're going to deny that, but then how do you explain the fact that a person that is so separated from society could still have those qualities assigned to their actions when they're on the other side of the universe?
Because you make the mistake so many people that ascribe morality to God make, which is the only reason that you do good and don't hurt people is because you're afraid of getting in trouble by your Lord and Master. Okay? I choose not to do evil because I don't want that baby to not have a chance to have their life.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. I choose not to do evil. Chat, did he say I choose not to do evil? Everyone just make sure I'm arguing in good faith.
I'm not agreeing with the definition. I'm using evil as a definition of killing the baby, Ember. I can't do it. But Ember, I'm going to give you one chance. I am here.
Hold on.
No, wait. I know. Well, you might be. And I want you here and I like talking with you. Okay. But what you can't do is try, good and well, when I use the word evil, I wasn't suddenly going, oh, he must really believe in evil. You have been talking about that act being an evil act. And I am saying it as it relates to that act on the other side of the universe. But no, I do not think evil is anything other than a man-made construct.
But you were willing to use the term to assign a moral quality to an action, which means that you have some kind of a metric for what evil means. Maybe
I do.
You'd be willing to enlighten me on what that means.
Well, I have the word evil to me is the same word as mean, cruel, sad, something that brings about heartbreak in other people. If you want to call that evil and I want to call that evil, cool. But I don't have any evidence, nor do you, that the concept of evil is somehow tied to anything other than our own psychology, frankly.
So when a parent scolds his toddler, for example, and the toddler is crying and he has to be a little bit mean about making sure that the toddler understands not to color on the walls again. And the toddler's crying and the toddler's very sad and distraught.
Yeah.
Has the parent committed an evil?
And in the scenario you've just described, it doesn't sound like it. No.
Right. And that's because the words that you were using to quantify this sort of amorphous version of evil that you have in this conversation doesn't function as a universal moral principle. It doesn't work, but you said evil. So I think that you have a metric, but I don't know that maybe you're you're defining it the way that you would if you had more time. Or
what are you trying to ask me as it relates to my concept of evil? Do I think there are bad things that people do? Yes. Do I think if I was writing a movie script or something and I wanted to use the word evil, I would use that word? Yes. But I don't use it the way you're using it, which is to say it is, it might as well be gravity because it's so basic to simply the universe. I use it because it's a word that we've been given as a shortcut or a shorthand to a lot of these actions. And it's easier to talk about it like that. And I've been conditioned to talk about it like that in a Judeo-Christian society. But that doesn't mean I agree with your definition of it being intrinsic to existence. And look, and I'm not saying this to be insulting, but I you're not insulting.
I think that you're being a little willfully ignorant because you were willing to use the word. And I think you know exactly what it is that I'm saying, but I think you're trying very hard to put up a defense to deny any. What do you think I'm denying? Do you think I actually think there is a universal concept called evil and morality that's just baked into the fabric of the universe? Is that what you think I'm trying to weasel my way out of? Yes.
Okay. I don't believe that. Okay. I don't believe that in the same way that when you said this to me the other night and other people will say, how can you deny the existence of God? All you have to do is look up at the stars. One little degree off and we wouldn't be here, blah, 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 blah. And my answer is similar, which is we are not able to perceive anything other through the filter of our own humanity and our own brain. Okay. So while I understand why you might think evil is some kind of inherent concept to the universe, I don't have that same filter that I see things through. Just like when I look up at the stars, yeah, we could be a couple of degrees away from the sun or tilted away. We may not be here, but something else might be, right? That doesn't just, you make this leap that because you can't figure it out, it has to be God. And I don't believe that.
I know you don't believe that, but I do think that you do believe in these principles. And then I can give you another example that I think you'll probably still deny, but maybe it can help clarify things a bit. And we talked about it before. We talked about human rights. Mm-hmm. Would you say that you believe in human rights?
Because you are you, I'm going to ask you to define that.
No. Please, you define it and then tell me what you believe.
I could say it's a cold can of Diet Coke. I mean, what do you care if you won't define it for me? But do I believe that all people should be treated with respect and not be harmed? Yeah, I do believe that. Why? Because I would want someone else to do the same for me. And I think it's fundamentally right. And if you want to know where that fundamentally right comes from, it's not. Yeah. There it is. This is what you don't get. Fundamentally right. I don't care, by the way. I'm agnostic. If God put that into us, like, Vincent Price put all his cookies into Edward Scissorhands, great. But I'm more inclined to think that my sense of inherently right has more to do with evolution and biology. And when we were coming out of the caves, we just sort of had to learn how to do X, Y, Z in order to survive and propagate the species. And the ones that didn't learn to do it are no longer with us. Right. So,
okay. So listen, that's an interesting thing that you just said.
I know.
We came out of the caves and we just sort of it just kind of happened.
No, I didn't say it just kind of happened. I said evolution, which means that for every 100 people that killed each other, there were the 1 or 2 that didn't, and they fucked and they had babies, and those babies, because they were around and they were able to have sex with someone else. That's how evolution works. There's a lot of people that did it wrong. There's a lot of people.
The direction of evolution, the intention behind genetic code passing from generation to generation, the result of that passing, that's all just cosmic accident. I actually find that much harder to believe. I
have no idea. It could be a cosmic accident. It could be absolutely as much of a cosmic accident as gravity. I don't know, and you don't know. That's why I'm agnostic. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if there was a programmer or a creator or a bunch of the universe is impossible to fathom for a human brain, but it's so fucking big that the only reason we're having this discussion is we may have been the only people where it just kind of randomly the dice rolled and this is what we got. But the universe is so old that for all we know, we've missed that dice roll hundreds and billions of times. I mean, we don't have any memory of what we were before. So maybe
it wasn't a dice roll. I mean, like if you walk,
that's right. Maybe it wasn't.
If you walk out of your house and you see a car parked on the other side of the street, right? It's an Aston Martin DB9.
Okay.
What are the chances that all of the pieces of metal were refined and shaped into place, and the rubber on the tires and the leather on the seats, that all of it just fell from the sky or grew out of the ground in the perfect configuration to form an Aston Martin?
As far as I can tell, the chances of that are incredibly small.
Yes. And I want you to understand that the chances of humanity existing are smaller.
And what I want you to understand is just because you don't understand how something happens. I saw, what's the guy's name? Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about this. He was talking about the fact that, because somebody made this argument to him. He's like, how can you explain a McDonald's, or someone had to design that? The same thing applies to the universe.
How is that different from Bill O'Reilly saying, well, in that case, the rest of it's God? And you guys are just expounding beliefs here. You've got no evidence. For the 96%.
The difference is we do understand the tides. The tides are part of the 4% we understand. But then we just have to come back and say, well, doesn't mean if you don't understand something and the community of physicists don't understand it, that means God did it? Is that how you want to play this game? Because if it is, here's a list of the things in the past that the physicists at the time didn't understand. So if that's how you want to invoke your evidence for God, then God is an ever receding pocket of scientific ignorance. Find some physics we don't understand, and if he wants to call that God, no, then you come at him with the God of the gaps argument.
And he's like, well, maybe, but what he ultimately said to the guy was, and I forget the fallacy, he named it, but I forget what it was, but he said, fundamentally, if you are looking at something you don't understand, we can point to history and go, for so many times we didn't understand this, so we said it was God. And then we understood it, and now we just say it's that, right? Whether it's weather, earthquakes, gravity, whatever. But 5,000 years ago,
that's called the argument from ignorance. So I don't have to borrow my arguments. I know them.
Okay, well, great. So you can name it. So that's basically what we're talking about, which is, I agree, the Aston Martin, sure, but that's because we know what that is and we know what that's defined as. But to say, oh, I look at a tree and I say the same thing, and I'm like, that tree could look like a giant vagina that sings Broadway tunes. But if we were raised in the world and our only frame of reference to the giant vagina that sings Broadway tunes is that's a tree, we'd go, how can that be? It's like, it is probably because it evolved to be that. And we have all this societal education and life experience going, tree good. Tree makes me happy. Science says tree gives oxygen. I like trees. Trees are pretty. So you're going to now suddenly put all this weight on that thing that we just like because experience, and go, it couldn't just have formed. Sure, it could have. It could have been a vagina that was singing Guys and Dolls, which I would pay to see.
Right? So you make that example a lot. It's like this all could have been anything. But then we have to bring it back to the functional reality that we share, our objective truth, which is that it's not a giant vagina. That's
I know, but if it was, you'd be saying the same thing, though, is what I'm saying.
Jaffe, that argument does nothing because it offers
everything.
Nothing. It does nothing to the function of us trying to arrive at a truth about the nature of the universe. It's like, well, we all could have been flying whales, and the planet could have been made of gas instead of rock. And then you'd be saying the same thing. It's like, well,
that's
fantastic,
right.
Fantastic, wonderful, Jaffe. That doesn't mean anything at all.
It means
our material reality.
But what it means, though, is because of that, the only real solution, or the only real place we can arrive at, if we're being honest, is we don't know. You may be right that the concept of a man or a tree or the stars is so rare and beautiful and intentional that the only way it could have ever been created is from a God. But you could just as well, in fact, based on what evidence we've seen so far, be wrong, which is your perception of it and your dramatizing and romanticizing to such a degree is because that's the only frame of reference that you have. So of course you're going to see it that way. But there's nothing inherently beautiful about a tree.
I think that there is.
I'm glad you think that.
I disagree.
I want look. This is the thing about secularists like you that seems so hellbent on trying to dismantle God.
I just said if there is a God, I'm cool with that. I don't want to dismantle it. I just need a little evidence.
You're obviously not, because there is a lot of evidence all around you, and there are people that have told you that there's evidence all around you, and you reject all of it because it doesn't fit into the creature comfort lifestyle that you've built for yourself.
You are making up a lot of shit about me and ascribing a lot of assumptions or ascribing a lot of motivations to the way I live my life, which are simply not true. Okay, I was walking in a field 2 nights ago. Okay. I had both my children in front of me. They were, one is now 20, the other is 22. And they were laughing like they did when they were kids. And I was just holding back. And I remember I had a little moment where I looked up at the stars and I said, thank you for them. Now, who was I saying thank you to? Maybe it was God.
It was God.
Oh my God, dude, please shut up. Please stop. Don't tell me it was God.
It was.
Okay, fine. But I know enough to know that I have also been raised in the current culture where I have been told since I was a child that there is a God. He lives in the sky, which is kind of absurd when you think about up, because there is no up in space. It just is. But I looked up and said that. So there was a lot of societal wiring and programming that went into that. It could have just been me going, I don't know what gave me this joy. Maybe it was a programmer. Maybe I'm living in a version of The Sims. None of us know. That's what I wish you non-secular people would do, is just own the fact. I don't care about your faith. If you have faith, that's great. But stop confusing faith with knowing. Stop confusing faith with knowledge. You can believe in your heart of hearts that there is a God, and that's great. And you can tell people how much you love God and how much it's made your life better, and that's great. But where people like me get frustrated is when you try to then go into the realm of provability and reality based on what we know, because you don't have any pot to piss in, my friend.
I can explain to you why it matters that we go into the objective world with these philosophical ideas. And I'm going to bring this back to the question that I asked you 20 minutes ago, which was to find me the part in the Heritage Family, whatever that the Heritage
Foundation, yeah,
about the 19th Amendment and repealing that.
Well, I found. I'm looking at it right now.
I don't think that's true.
Enforcing.
But listen.
Okay, well, would you? Okay, go ahead.
But hold on to that, because the reason why it matters is that I would love for anyone to try to build a society on, I don't know. I would love for that to work. You enjoy.
Wait. Build a society on what?
Christian theology on, I don't know. Like you're saying, I don't know. I don't know what's true. I don't know if it's God or if it's whatever. I don't know.
That's where we live now.
No, it's not. You enjoy the fruits of 2,000 years of Christian philosophy and ethics, but you've removed all the parts that you find uncomfortable there, or that you dislike, all the fantastic parts that you don't think are necessary. But when you walk outside with the presumption of safety, for example. You're not expecting to get attacked by raiders, because we've built a society after thousands of years of going over and over these philosophical conversations over and over again. And we've decided to build a society in which maybe it is preferable to then try to incentivize assumed safety among all people. And you get to enjoy that. You get to enjoy even the concept of human rights.
And
you have no idea what it even means. And that all comes from Christian theology. You are enjoying the cream of the crop without ever acknowledging.
Okay, well, you're okay, cake. But you're okay. Well,
hell yeah, I love enjoying things I didn't work for. That's American.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. But no, John Salk, this guy doesn't know. Okay, the reason that we have banded together in order to survive didn't come from Christian theology. If it did, we never would have had the Roman Empire, the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Celts, the cavemen. It came from going, you know what? That saber-toothed tiger's bigger than Fred over there. But Fred, Mark, and Daniel can fucking take that motherfucking down, and we all eat for the weekend. That's where it started.
What did you mean by the Roman Empire? We wouldn't have had the Roman Empire if Christian theology. What do you mean by that?
The Roman Empire came before Christian theology came.
Yeah. Okay.
Meaning,
what do you mean?
You're saying that the idea that safety was built on the back of Christian theology. And I'm like going, no, it really wasn't. I'm not saying there haven't been some good morals that have come from that specific New Testament. Sure, there have. But the idea that before that, the entire world was chaos is goofy. And there's no evidence to back it up.
So let me show you what I mean.
Okay.
So the idea of presumed safety and the idea that you can walk around, that there are punishments for anyone that trespasses upon your human right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in the United States is a Christian idea. And I can explain to you how. The idea, and I've said this before, comes from the notion. It comes from the notion that all people are made in the image of God. Without that notion, there are no human rights, because I'm not trespassing upon anything if I kill you. I'm simply stronger than you. And therefore, my merit outmerits yours, and I can take your land and I can take your women and so on and so forth.
So did the Romans just get lucky, or the Egyptians just get lucky because
what happened to the Romans?
What happens to every civilization? The idea that
what happened specifically to the Romans?
They went corrupt and they got greedy.
They became the church. They were subsumed by a non-violent,
like I said,
religion.
They became corrupt.
How did that happen?
Greedy.
How does a non-violent?
I didn't say they were they weren't militarized.
Listen to what I'm saying. The religion, the people that were being martyred constantly by the Romans, how did they somehow subsume one of the greatest empires in the entire history of the species? How is that possible?
Because that particular empire was very corrupt, and in that the masses majority rules, and basically power is in the hands of the majority that can basically rip you to shreds. And that's what happened. It's what may happen here when you've got the 1%ers that are totally taking advantage of everyone. And these people,
that's Gen X slot politics, man. It's that constantly goes back to, it's the elites. It's the 1%.
It is the elites and the 1%. Who do you think? Let me tell you something. I saw something Bernie Sanders tweeted out today. I knew this, but I didn't know this. I hadn't had it laid out as good as he had laid it out. He said, hang on, Bunny. He said that the top 5 richest men in the world own all of the media. Elon owns X. Zuckerberg owns Meta and Instagram. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post and Amazon. This guy, Ellison, is just about to buy TikTok and Paramount and Warner Brothers, merging them together. And there was one more he mentioned. So this idea,
the one more is Moneybag Jay Styles at 5.
I want to say one more thing before I head out, because I've overstayed.
Okay.
And I don't want to bore the chat, but I do want to say this. Mm-hmm. How much more fun is it, chat, when Jaffe has someone that can counteract this?
I don't know if you're
instead of just having him sit here and get angry and rant at you, and then Bunny sits there uncomfortably, and then Tech goes, "Hey, someone from the chat!" Right?
By the way, I'd like to say again, but I get it, because you want to take away women's rights to vote, Ember. Bunny, 100%. If I was Bunny, I would fucking get sick of being told I sit there uncomfortably. The goddamn woman, I just can't handle it anymore. The misogyny dripping off that fucking statement. And I don't care if Bunny cares or not. But it's like,
I care if Bunny cares.
She's a goddamn grown woman. She's smart. She's articulate. She'll speak when she fucking wants to speak.
Jaffe, I understand that you're a feminist. All I was saying is that I recognize that Bunny is not entirely interested in talking about this stuff.
I don't know if that's true. Bunny, would you like to offer your view?
Well, my thing is, I believe what I believe, and I've never really cared to discuss it with people.
Bunny, are you Christian?
I believe in God. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I would consider myself a type of Christian.
Yeah, wait a minute, though, because Ember's is like, hell yeah, we got another one, boys. Put her up on the board. You've explained the kind of Christian you are. I don't think Bunny, I don't think Ember would have you in his church.
I would have you in my church.
I think you would.
I would have everyone.
But you don't believe, talk about your view of God. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it's not the idea that to say you believe in God means X to, it doesn't mean the same thing to a lot of people. Could you explain it?
Yeah. I mean, I got Jesus in my heart, and that's why I say I am some type of Christian. I do believe, but I believe what I want to believe, and I know that there's a chance I could be wrong.
Right. That's all I care about is the difference between faith and knowing. That. Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, that's what and that's why I've never cared to like talk with people about it, because I do feel like mine is I'm a little different than the average Christian, I feel like. But I do also believe that everyone is God. Like
right. That at least
like
makes
this is where Ember's gonna be like, she lost me.
it's so look, I'm one of those people that is like a nerd about being Catholic. So I like read Thomas Aquinas and I'm constantly reading Apologia, right? Like from Trent Horn or Bishop Robert Barron, or people that write about the philosophy behind the Catholic Church as well as the Christian faith. And so the reason why I like to talk about these things, and I was, for the record, especially to chat, I was trying to get off the topic a second ago, but it's just that I think that you can take the philosophies, and these are hard philosophies, and you can take them and you can apply them to real moral issues and then arrive at the truth as a result of them. So like I love debating people on abortion, for example, because I think that I can argue based on what I understand about philosophy from the Christian perspective and win every single time against like somebody that, for example, is very pro-abortion.
No one's pro-abortion. They're pro-choice.
But that's pro-abortion.
No, it's not. But okay,
100%. If you tolerate it, you're for it. Dude, I would love to get into this.
You won that argument. I mean, look, just saying you won the argument doesn't mean you won the argument. Okay, but all I can tell you is what Bunny says makes sense to me, which is it
doesn't impose on you.
Why should it impose on me?
Because I think that there's truth that
I don't care what you think. That's what I'm saying. No, what I'm saying is if you can offer evidence of it, then I will allow it possibly to impose on me. But I'm not going to have something impose on me because you've got some fucking faith that you can't prove. What do I care?
Well, I know you don't care.
Why would anyone care?
I do believe that there is a God is because I know that the universe leans into entropy. Everything ends up being chaos. But for everything to be so perfect here, I just feel like that's like Ember was saying, the chance of
That's easy to
everything being exactly. I don't know. I just feel like
so what that is something called the teleological argument. It's the argument for fine tuning, and that is considered even by atheists who debate Christians all the time. Like you can go to the Cosmic Skeptic, you go back and listen to Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins. Every single one of them has cited the teleological argument as the most compelling argument for design.
Well, the reason I say that God or that religion poisons everything is it makes intelligent people say stupid things, and it makes good people do bad things. And the arguments are not very good. Some of the people making them are extremely intelligent, but they're rather stuck with the old script. And when they get any better than the old script, which is really pretty shabby and battered by now, they tend to borrow from work. They stand on the shoulders of other schools. So now, having fought for a long time against the idea of the Big Bang and evolution as the origins of life and the cosmos, they now decide to annex it. They become frightfully interested in it, and they say, actually, the Big Bang is so amazing that it must have been God after all that did this. And we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the wonderful fine-tuning that produces life. Slightly solipsistic argument, as you can see. That's one that we find impressive, because at least it takes some work.
Now, there is still the logical leap to be like, okay, this universe, total chaos, nothing but death, very strange that the physical constants of the universe are tuned just well enough to allow for our existence. That's pretty amazing. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to suddenly believe that the guy that was walking around who's named Yeshua, the King of the Jews, 2,000 years ago is God. So, and I can see why that is a hard leap to make. But it is, like you were saying, the universe leans into entropy, which is, that's a great way to put that. And it is pure chaos. And yet here we are. And so it's up to you to decide whether or not your life is a miracle. I think it is.
Your fallacy is, and yet here we are. The assumption the assumption that you think.
For so
wait a minute. The assumption that you think that we have arrived at some level that's not chaos, that's because you've perceived it that way. You've learned to live your life that way. We've learned to build a society that way. This is also a society that is still very much filled with chaos, that has children dying of terrible diseases.
Society, talking about the base of being able to survive and thrive on Earth, not society and anything like that. Just the base level of we're living on Earth and everything. There are so many things that have to line up so perfectly for us to be able to thrive here.
Like what?
The physical constants of the universe.
Like, no, give me an example. Give me one. The distance from the sun.
Gravity.
Distance
from the sun.
Wait. So gravity, if gravity was a little off, there could be no life?
Correct.
That's not correct. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
If gravity was a little heavier or a little lighter on Earth, it's not like we wouldn't have survived. We would be different. They just said the other day that they may have found microbes on Mars. Mars has much lower gravity. I think it's lower than we have here on Earth. Well, how can that be?
Because I'm talking about the physical constants of the entire universe, the weak and the strong force, all of the things that define the DNA of the universe, of our reality.
No, you're talking about the settings. You're talking about the settings, I thought.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the settings. Sure, we could use that word instead. Those things which are physically, right, they're constant among all things that exist within the universe. They are the laws of physics. Yeah. If they were different, then the universe would be
different.
It would not function.
It would function. It would just be different. There may very well be multiverses, according to theoretical physics, where time literally runs backwards. Wait, hang on a second. What?
Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't. Go ahead.
Bunny, it is so great that you said that, by the way. I'm so glad you brought that up. But okay, so what I'm saying is that, well, first of all, we can go back and forth on the, well, it could have been this and it would be different. It's not. So we have to deal with the fact that it is what it is, which is the universe as it is now.
Yes, but if we deal with, I can't do it. Here's the problem.
I know. I don't want to go back.
Yeah, we're never going to agree on this. I'm sorry. We're absolutely never going to agree on this. I think all I can agree with is you have a right to your beliefs. I really hope, just like I have a right to mine, just like I have a right to things that you think are absurd and stupid, you do as well. But the reason I was so pissed off about the quote memorial this week is when it becomes politicized and they're trying to basically make it what everyone's life needs to be. That, and more importantly, or not more, but as importantly, when the 1% that you don't seem to believe in are using that to basically manipulate tens of millions of people to get them to vote a certain way by a guy who probably has been to church 5 times in his whole fucking life, who can't quote a goddamn Bible passage. That's what really has me upset. But you can believe what you want.
Okay, can I say one thing real quick? So you just did something that you accused me of doing a lot earlier, which is that you made an assumption about me. You said you don't, the 1% you don't seem to believe in, which I think is the
you told me that was Gen X slop when I said it. The elites.
Yes, I said that. I think you may have misinterpreted what I'm saying. Is that I think that the Gen X people and a lot of people that are older than Gen X have this tendency to blame societal ills on this amorphous the 1%.
It's not amorphous.
Okay, so obviously it exists. But you say this a lot. It's like, oh, they're just trying to get us to fight. It's the elites. They're manipulating us.
Yes.
I think that it's an easy way to cop out of having to really examine a problem and maybe even hold oneself accountable for it.
Okay,
obviously,
if we were on a college campus or something, maybe. But when you are Elon Musk and you control X, and you allow certain bots and you allow certain trolls, and you literally tweet out that the emissary of peace was assassinated by the left, which he tweeted out the other day. He said they, but we know who he was talking about. Ultimately, that is one of the 1%. He is the richest man on the planet, putting his thumb on the scale to manipulate us to fight so he makes more money with his little social media experiment. It's not amorphous.
It doesn't occur to you that they could be earnest in what they're doing.
No.
Right. So
here's how I know that, because you don't get to be one of the richest people walking on the planet by following actual Christian morality doctrine. You build your wealth and your empire on the backs of a lot of other people that suffer. You build your wealth on other countries that make stuff for you dirt cheap, that suffer. so you can go off and become rich and have your Aston Martin. That's how I know that they're not genuine. Go ask Musk, what's your favorite Bible verse? Quote it. He might know because he's autistic, but Trump certainly couldn't do it when he was asked.
I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are, and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into.
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite.
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Okay, so that's how I know, right? So there's you again doing the thing that you accuse me of, is that you don't know truly. You haven't spoken to these men and you don't know their hearts. Now it's true that
they have offered their hearts on display as public figures, and I have judged them as we are all want to do when they offer it up.
Yeah, I think you're extrapolating. I don't think that's evidence, and I think that even you can understand how that's not evidence. That's
you think Donald Trump is a true Christian and a good man?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, well, there's one.
Okay, but the 1% is much bigger than that, right? There are a lot more people that are the 1%. Now, I completely agree with you that income inequality is out of control. I'm Catholic, right? I'm not a Republican. I'm not a conservative. I don't think that it's okay that there are people who are working hard in the middle class that can't own a home. I think it is a moral and good thing for people to be able to own a home and have a family. I think that the nation should be directed in such a way to encourage as many people to have families as possible. And obviously one of the primary components of that is owning homes. So while BlackRock is buying up single family properties and
renting them out,
selling land to China and so on and so forth. Yeah, for sure. I think that all of that's bad. And there are very wealthy actors who are contributing to
AKA the 1%.
Now, but the thing is that you to constantly go back to, like, there's this elite cabal of 1%ers.
I didn't say there was an elite cabal. I'm not saying New World Order. I'm not talking about Alex Jones shit.
You make it sound like that. He's describing what you're saying.
I didn't say elite cabal. That
is not the words you use.
He just saying elite cabal paints the picture of a bunch of Jews and the Rothschilds sitting in a mountain cave.
In your generation, yes, not in our generation. Cabal means a group of fucking old fucking white guys that have a lot of money. Sit in the fucking
people pulling the strings is
right. So, but you are suggesting, they're pulling the strings, they're trying to divide us so that they can make more money. I do think that is a reductive conclusion to make about the intentions of people whose hearts you cannot know and who very well could be earnest in what they believe. I think that it could be that Elon Musk, who I think based on the evidence that we have, right, we can assume maybe that he was quite moved by the assassination of Charlie Kirk. You can see he's very upset while he's there. Now you could say, it's all a show, it's a play, they're playing you. You can say that, sure, but we only have what we have in front of us to work with. And it very well could be that Elon believes in his heart of hearts, in spite of the money he's made or how he's made it, that the country should take a different direction than what you would like to see it as, and he's going to use his means to move it in that direction because he believes that it's right and true and just. So I don't think that it's always prudent to look at the societal ills and be like, the 1% and the billionaires, they're manipulating us, they're playing you. It's like, I think that's a bit of a cop-out.
Okay, well, I think it's a cop-out to go right after Elon Musk was fired from Doge. He started a new political party. He accused Trump of doing all kinds of awful things in the Oval Office, including being a drug addict. But suddenly, that's all changed now, and he wants to be back in this guy's good graces. Okay, I think once they can explain that, once Tim Cook, once Bob Iger, once all these rich, very powerful people can explain why their actions on one day no longer mirror their same actions when it comes to the presidency on another day, then maybe you have a pot to piss in. Until then, I'm going to judge them based on their actions. And
I think that we're talking about two fundamentally different things, because you're bringing up these specific examples. And I agree. I think it is very strange that Elon Musk called Trump a pedophile and is now willing to sit
pedophile, right. Sorry, he was the drug addict, right, yeah.
I think that it's strange that he did that, for sure. And we can evaluate that and make a judgment based on that and so on and so forth. But I think that we are talking about two fundamentally different things, because you always go back to these specific examples. Pete Hegseth said this and so, and the head of the FCC said this and this and this. I'm talking about a principle.
I'm talking about people doing real things. I know that principle and magical thinking and stuff is your purview, but I like to go by, facts and evidence. And they've shown us.
Talk about principles is because they frame our ability to think critically. Would you disagree with that?
I don't know. It depends what you're talking about. There's lots of principles that don't allow us to think critically. Oh my God, Alex, shut up. You are literally supposed to be in the goddamn seminary, motherfucker. You say you're trained to be a priest. Jesus fucking Christ. Can we not every now and then have a discussion? I'm sorry it makes you uncomfortable.
I love this.
I mean,
love
Jesus, can we not fucking have? Oh no, you said Jesus. You must believe in Jesus. I'm just like, can we not from time, we talk about UFOs, we talk about aliens, we talk about Bigfoot, we talk about video games, we talk about movies. We open this talking about Jimmy Kimmel. Hell, there may be a goddamn rapture tomorrow. From what's the outcome? It's just fun, man. It's fun to discuss and debate and roll ideas around. That's what's fun to have a mind at work. Okay? That's the fun of it, man. I don't understand. What do you just want to be a goddamn empty-headed motherfucker and just like, I want pretty things on my screen. Sometimes open your mind, talk a little bit, debate a little bit.
I think it's super fun to be able to talk about things, especially when things get a little heated. It's been, I have the unique ability to be able to walk away from a lot of these conversations. And as you would imagine, Jaffe being somebody that was born and raised in Southern California, nobody I know thinks like I do. So I usually have to have these conversations quite a lot. But I find it very enjoyable to just be able to go back and forth.
I enjoy it.
I enjoy it. It's super fun. But okay, look, I meant to leave like 15 minutes ago. I've totally hijacked your show. I apologize.
You've not hijacked my show, but I appreciate your ego is as healthy as it's ever been.
But yeah, I'll excuse myself here. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, Ember. We'll see you, buddy. Thanks, man.
Have a good night.